What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, live for your NFL Week 5 review. It is the Bottom Line, the show that I rant, react, and recap the latest NFL slate of games, the latest NFL weekend and action. This time, week number 5 of the 2021 NFL season. We have a lot of great topics for you on the show. But first, in case you're wondering why I didn't do this after Monday Night Football, it was Thanksgiving here in Canada. Okay, so that's why I didn't get it done last night with family doing dinner and stuff. So it would have just been too much. So I decided to move it to Tuesday. But moving forward, you guys voted. I put a vote up, a poll up. And you guys have decided that you want it to stay after Monday Night Football. So that's what I'm going to do every single Monday night after the game. Going to come on here live and react to the game, as well as, of course, every week in the NFL, giving you my thoughts on each and every game and all of the action. I have a well-prepared show for you today. A lot of notes, a lot of stuff to get to. So before we get started, before we get going, make sure that you do spike that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more BLV NFL content. Also, spike that notification bell if you are a subscriber for the latest live stream and upload. All right. So we are here for another NFL weekly review. What's going on, guys, in the chat? D Money, Tyler's World, first name, last name. He said, what's going on, Deshaun? We've got a couple people in here. That's pretty cool. Thank you, guys. Make sure you do vote on who you think the best quarterback in the NFL is right now. I put a poll up there in the live chat for you guys to check out. I had a couple options there: Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and others. So make sure you check that poll out. Give your vote. I'll check it out at the end of the show. I'm going to be giving you the main topic of the show. As you can see in the title, is the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, according to me, my list, right now. Okay, not last year, not next year, right now, at this moment in time, who are the best quarterbacks and who do I believe will be the best quarterbacks for the rest of the year? Matthew, Aqua, what's going on, guys? Thanks for joining me here live. Let's get to the topics, guys, and you can always check out the topics. I put them out earlier in the day on Instagram, the topics for today's show. We have the Ultra's top 10 teams. As always, Ultra has delivered his top 10, which is always on Instagram early on Monday, Tuesday. Sometimes he puts it out on Tuesday. Sometimes he puts it out on Monday. Regardless, though, his top 10 teams are on Instagram at TheBottomLineView. We have a Monday Night Football reaction, the Ravens and the Colts, and a Lamar Jackson comeback. Absolutely phenomenal. The Jon Gruden resignation, I'll give my quick thoughts on that. Mac and the Patriots comeback versus the Texans. I know that Patriots fans, I didn't do the live stream for that game. I know that you want to hear me talk about that, so I will get to that. I hate kickers, a rant about kickers. Bengals and Packers, that is the game that I did live stream, and it was an absolute joke, bro. You got one job, and they can't execute it. Dan Campbell is a breath of fresh air. I love Dan Campbell. We'll talk about him crying at the podium after his team lost. Trey Lance's debut, and stop blaming Kyle Shanahan. We'll get to the story behind that. And Trey Lance's performance in his first game in the NFL. Kadarius Toney is a stud, as well as the Giants' injuries and how the outlook looks for the G-Men. The Superchargers, arguably the best team in the NFL right now. We'll talk about the Chargers' chances at a Super Bowl this year. Let's talk Browns and Baker. I left out the N Baker part, but that's certainly part of it. Trolling Chiefs fans for fun. That is always my favorite thing to do. So we're going to literally go on to my Chiefs are overrated video and just read the comments, and it's going to be hilarious. The Bills are Super Bowl favorites. We got to talk about the Bills. I'll probably talk about them before I talk about the Chiefs so that I don't take all of the shine away from Buffalo, but they had a very impressive Sunday Night Football win against the Chiefs in Arrowhead. So we're going to talk about why the Bills are the best team in the NFL right now. And then lastly, but certainly not least, you guys know the updated top 10 quarterbacks, where I'm going to list my top 10 quarterbacks at the biggest position, most important position in sports at the end of the video. So every week we do our shout out for the BLV GOATs, BLV Goats on Patreon, which is the $20 tier, the top tier on my Patreon, the guys that support me every single month. We've got Connor McLeod, who's the man, the myth, the legend, the Chargers and Browns closet fan. We don't really know which one he is because he doesn't make up his mind, but we love Connor. And we got Bodo Winter, the OG himself. He's also a GOAT. Katana, who's been around for a very long time. I haven't seen him in many chats recently. Maybe he's just watching from afar, but I appreciate Katana. And we got Ronald A. Smith, another quiet assassin in the background, but a big supporter of the BLV. So thank you guys for supporting me on Patreon. If you want to support me as a creator, a person, and as gets a little value on Patreon, because we got a lot of gambling content and things. We also got the best NFL podcast, BLV versus Consensus. Check that out on Patreon. You get all that and more. So thank you guys for the BLV Goats. All right, let's get to that Ultra 10. Let's waste no more time and let's rip Ultra apart for his Ultra 10. Top 10 teams in the NFL. All right, so the top 10 teams according to Ultra after week number 5. Of course, guys, you can find this on Instagram. At number 1, the Buffalo Bills. I cannot disagree here. The Buffalo Bills are that team. There is no debate for me. Right now, they are the team with the least amount of holes, and they are the most complete team in the league. They've got a top 10 quarterback. Spoiler alert. They have a top 10 coach. Don't think that's a spoiler. They have, what else? A better, improved defense. And they showed that versus the Chiefs. They can actually run the ball a little bit more. They actually have a legitimate tight end now in Dawson Knox. It appears that maybe the Bills aren't quite as prolific as they were in the passing game a year ago, but they are a more complete team. And when you want to win a Super Bowl, guys, it all comes back to being an elite, well-rounded team with minimal holes. And that's what I see with the Bills. At number 2, he has the Cardinals. Personally, we will see when my power rankings come out who I have at number 2. It is not the Cardinals. Personally, I do not believe in the Cardinals long-term as a Super Bowl true NFC representative. But right now, they are undefeated. So Ultra has them at number 2. He kind of goes more off of the here and now. I kind of more go off the projection and the water, you know what I mean? But he goes off of the here and now, so I understand the pick. I personally don't have the Cardinals at number 2. I have a different team. You'll see in my power rankings, which will be out probably tomorrow morning. We have at number 3, the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are, I think you could argue, anywhere from number 2 to number 4. They are a good, well-rounded team. They beat a division rival on Thursday night. It wasn't exactly the prettiest victory in the world, but they got it done. And the defense does concern me a little bit, especially if they start to lose some pieces. They lack a lot of depth, but the offense is one of the more balanced in the league. Henderson, Stafford, Kupp, Woods getting in the action. Higbee, they've got a lot of weapons to beat you. So the Rams will be there at the end of things. I like that one. Number 4, the Bucks. We saw Tom Brady torch the Dolphins this week. I think a lot of people moved them up in the power rankings this week. Obviously, I didn't, but the Ultra 10 didn't either, which is interesting. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers dealing with a lot of injuries on defense hasn't really mattered yet. Will it ever matter? We will see. At number 5, the Dallas Cowboys have found their way into the top 5 with another win, and it looked to be maybe closer than people expected early in the game with Daniel Jones and Saquon in the game, and then they end up getting hurt, and then the Cowboys kind of glide to a victory. But we've seen arguably, one of the best backfield duos in football, a great receiving core, CD getting back in the action, Amari Cooper, Dax playing at an MVP level, the defense is making plays, Trevon Diggs, Dilly Vanilli, shout out to him, said Defensive Player of the Year right now. At number 6, the Los Angeles Chargers. I think you could argue the Chargers are a top 5 team. You certainly could, just based on who they've beaten. They've beaten the Chiefs, they've beaten the Browns. That's pretty impressive to me, and now they've got an opportunity this next week to play the Ravens. Herbert's one of the best in the game. Staley is arguably the best coach in football right now. We're going to discuss that later on. At number 7, the Green Bay Packers. The Packers with another win in OT, but they came up clutch. Rodgers came up clutch. You rarely hear me say that, but I will say it. Came up clutch. And the Chargers, really, they need to work on their run defense. If they can get that sorted out, they can beat anybody in the league. And the Packers, they just got to get healthier on defense. They've been improving on defense, but I still need to see, A.J. Dillon's getting in on the action. I need to see them have multiple weapons to go to in those clutch situations, because some teams will be able to take away Adams. The Packers, I feel like, are a good team. I'm not sure that I'm sold on them being elite. At number 8, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are a fun team. I feel like the Ravens are one of the most fun teams to watch in the NFL this year. And Lamar Jackson is playing out of his mind and really carrying this team in a lot of ways. But I'm not sure they have what it takes to be a true Super Bowl contender, because they've consistently struggled versus some bad teams. They struggled versus the Lions, they struggled versus the Colts, even though they did win those games. So we'll see if they can go head-to-head with the Chargers and pull that one off. The Browns at number 9. The Browns they felt like they were going to win that game versus the Chargers, but it never really, they weren't able to pull it out. They weren't able to make that play at the end of the game. Baker Mayfield couldn't make that big throw to win it. They really let that game get away from them. Their defense versus good offenses has consistently struggled. So we'll see. They play the Cardinals this week. That's another big game in the NFL. And at number 10, the Chiefs. The Chiefs still remain in the top 10. I think, I agree with the Chiefs still being in the top 10. I think I'd still put them at number 10. And we're going to talk about on my power rankings how I feel like there is clearly a top 10 in the NFL, but there is no identifiable 11 to 20. That is a big topic I'm going to discuss in my power rankings that I think is very difficult to figure out right in the NFL, even though the Chiefs are 2-3. And I'm going to rip Chiefs fans apart later on. So we'll have our fun with the Chiefs fans later on, guys. They have lost to 3 good teams, right? They've lost to 3 teams in this top 10. They lost to the Ravens, the Browns, and the Chargers. So maybe they're not the best team, the Bills, my bad. So they beat the Browns. They've played 4 of the teams in the AFC. The other 4 good teams in the AFC, they've played already. So it's pretty crazy, but that's been the case for them. They've had a really tough start to the season, but they've been able to, probably not play their best football. Maybe they could still be a scary wild card, but they need to improve that defense. It is a huge struggle fest for them on the defensive side of the ball. So we'll talk about the Chiefs. We'll troll the Chiefs, but, they're still a good team. I'm not too worried that they're going to be a bad team this year or have a losing record this year. They're still going to end up with a winning record. They're still going to make the playoffs. They've just played a lot of good teams that at this point in time are playing better football, more well-rounded football, and even their quarterbacks on the other team, for some of them, are playing better. And we're going to talk about Mahomes later in the show as well. So the Ultra 10, there it is, guys. You can always check it out on the Instagram. I had 2 of myself on the screen for a second there, but now we only have 1. The Ultra 10s on Instagram, guys. Go follow us at TheBottomLineView. Now let's get to the Monday Night Football recap. Thank you guys for joining. I know we see some more people in here now, so if you haven't already, make sure you do Gronk spike that like button if you're just joining up. Please do. It really helps the channel, helps other people find this review. Okay, so Monday Night Football. The Colts and the Ravens. So you know that I was doing the whole Thanksgiving thing, so I missed parts of the game, and I was really, really concerned because I had a lot of money on the line in this game. I had a couple of teasers with the Ravens involved. I had overall, just emotions, okay? My emotions were on the line, riding with Lamar Jackson. I was like, there's no way. Rule 52. The Discord guys know Rule 52. Rule 52 is never bet against the Ravens, okay? Rule 52 is you always pick the Ravens to make the playoffs. That is Rule 52, okay? Rule 52 comes from Ray Lewis, but now it resides in number 8, Lamar Jackson. You don't bet against the Ravens, period. That is my history with the NFL. You don't do it, okay? Especially in Baltimore, in a primetime spot, you never count the Ravens out. And what happened on Monday Night Football? The Colts took it to them. The Colts were the better team. Carson Wentz rarely had a good game here. I'm not even going to really blame Carson Wentz. Now, I will say, bro, Carson Wentz, can you throw the ball away? Like, can you learn how to get rid of the ball? Has Carson Wentz ever thrown the ball away? Ever thrown the ball away before he's gotten hit? I have never seen Carson Wentz just throw the ball away. Has anyone seen this before? I mean, like, what is this guy? Like, it's a problem. The guy has a disease. He loves to hold on to the ball. He loves to get hit. I think he wants to get hurt. A guy invites contact. Like, bro, just survive. Just survive. Okay? Carson Wentz. Anyways, side point. I enjoyed what I saw from the Colts, but at the end of the day, you've got a special player in Lamar Jackson who I think has evolved. We're going to talk about Lamar Jackson when we get to our top 10 quarterbacks, but Lamar Jackson has literally ticked every box of the concerns that I had about him before the year, right? And I've always been a Lamar Jackson guy. I was a Lamar Jackson guy coming out into the draft saying that he was maybe the best in his class. If it was not him, it was Josh Allen, right? I was always a Lamar Jackson guy. I wanted Lamar Jackson to be drafted by the New England Patriots, and it still haunts me to this day that they did not draft him. Okay, I think they drafted Sony Michel. I don't know, but anyways, they should have drafted Lamar Jackson, so maybe there's still a little bit of that in me, but Lamar Jackson is that dude. He's a baller, and he plays with his heart on his sleeve. This guy, almost to a fault, plays with too much heart. There was a moment in the game where Lamar Jackson took a read option, and I think, he probably could have handed it off to Latavius Murray, but he kept it, and he decided to wrap around the corner. He ends up fumbling the ball. The reason he fumbled the ball is because he put 110% heart into scoring that touchdown to the point where he ended up fumbling it because he was trying to score a touchdown to get his team back in the game. So Lamar Jackson is like, he has that Tom Brady trait where it's like, that you could the passion for the sport is on display every time he plays. That is what Lamar Jackson is to me. That's why I love watching Lamar Jackson, because he plays with his heart on display. And it's just like, he's a great athlete, but you see him on every play trying to maximize what the team is doing. Whether it's him scrambling around and trying to find a receiver, him trying to run through a person, leap over a person, juke somebody out, trying to fight to get to the pylon. Whatever it is, Lamar Jackson is that guy that every single big game he comes through and he tries to win and put his team on his back. And that's why you can't count the Ravens out, because they're inspired by this guy. That is the quality of Lamar Jackson, where it's like he has that leadership quality of everybody around him wants to play for him because of the way that he plays. It's not necessarily that Lamar Jackson is this great talker. If you compare it, if you're a Ravens fan, if you compare it to the way that Ray Lewis would lead, which was very vocal, very kind of like, through charisma and such, right? Lamar Jackson is pretty quiet. He's not super vocal. But the way that he plays is the way that he leads. He leads by example through his heart on the field. And I think that's why the Ravens continue to pull off these incredible wins, right? Like, that's a true MVP to me. That's a true, just carry the team on your back, Greg Jennings style type of player. Because every single week they have a chance to win, no matter who they're playing and no matter what the outcome is at the moment. They could be down whatever it was, 22-9, I think, something like that. And they can come back because the team believes in Lamar Jackson. They believe that if this guy has the ball, they're going to win the game. So that is a rare trait that not a lot of players possess, and Lamar Jackson does possess that trait. And I think that's a big reason they won this game and are now currently where they're at, because I think that's even something that I underestimated is Lamar Jackson is so good, and this team has so much kind of clutch ability within them that even if they're not as talented as other teams they play, I thought they would be like 10-7. Maybe they're going to be better than that now just because of these wins they've been able to pull out of nowhere. And that's just the gift of Lamar Jackson that keeps on giving. I also have to readjust possibly where I have the Colts. I thought the Colts were kind of toast. Now, they went up a little bit in my rankings, a little bit in my mind, just in terms of how they performed on both sides of the ball. I think their defense is getting a little bit better, although we clearly see that they have deficiencies in the secondary. Their front still can perform, and their offense, I think Carson Wentz is getting a little bit more, at least comfortable. They don't really have a lot of weapons, but Michael Pittman appears to be a legitimate number one for them. Jonathan Taylor is a difference maker. So the Colts may be a little bit better than what I thought, but not a lot. They certainly have an ability to perform in this division and compete for the division with the Titans, because the Titans are not very good. But for most of my takeaways from this game, it was just super exciting. Of course, I was cheering for the Ravens, so my family around me, I got my Nona over here, I got my uncle over there, and I'm cheering for the game when they're scoring touchdowns, and I'm in the zone because I got money on the line, and I'm just, I'm in it. But it was cool to see, and it's always fun to be betting on a player like Lamar Jackson, because it feels so much better when you win with Lamar Jackson than when you lose with betting against Lamar Jackson. So that was pretty fun, and that was a great game. I hope you guys enjoyed that game. But there was something that happened during the game. There was something that kind of put a cloud over the game. There was something that kind of overshadowed the game that was happening throughout the game. And that was, of course, the Jon Gruden news. So I do quickly want to cover this. I don't want to get too into the weeds. I'm not a journalist, okay? I'm a YouTuber. So I don't know all of the information. I'm also not somebody that is going to be interviewing people around the situation. If you want to do that, I'd recommend, go to somewhere else, okay? Go to ESPN, go to The Ringer, okay? If you want more about this stuff, go there. But for me personally, what do I think of the Jon Gruden situation? Because you have to cover it. Jon Gruden has been, one of the top personalities in the NFL since he was a head coach for the Raiders. Of course, on the ESPN broadcast for a lot of kind of, my upbringing as an NFL fan, watching him be, the color commentator, a very good one in my opinion. But I think a lot of people have mixed reactions to this. There's one side of the camp that wants, him to be, in some regard, rightfully stripped of all he's ever done. And then there's this other camp that's saying this is cancel culture, doing their thing. And personally, where I stand is, when you're a head coach, you are a leader of men. And when you're a leader of men, you can't lead if you aren't respected. You have to be respected as a coach. And if this information came out about any coach, it would be, at any level, it would be very hard for that person, that man, to look his players in the eyes and be able to lead them week by week in their meetings preparing for the games, because personally, they do not believe in the person that is coaching them. And especially given the background of many of his players and given the context of his comments, I'll let you guys do that research. I'm not going to bring it up because some of it's very offensive, so I'm not going to put that on the screen or anything. But especially given the players on his team, it's very hard to continue to coach a team when your players look at you this way, right? You can't be honest with them. Even if you are honest, it's going to be seen as not honesty, if that makes sense. You have to be believed as a person. Your message that you give these players as a teacher has to be given some level of belief. And with this credibility now, it's impossible to do. So whether you agree with this, whether you disagree with this, the fact of the matter is, Jon Gruden was not going to be able to do his job at the same level in this situation now, given the information. So that is the facts of the matter. And that's where I stand on it. He was going to be questioned in the locker room no matter what, by every person in that locker room, right? It's an unfortunate situation. You don't want to see that people say any of that stuff, and you don't want to see that happen to anybody as well. But it's just the way it's got to be. It's the way it is. So that's the where I stand on Jon Gruden. If you guys want to hit me up with anything that you think, let us know in the comments. You know, try to be respectful to both sides of the spectrum. But I feel like for most of what's happening, I personally agree with it. But I don't want to go like crazy on it. So if you guys want more information about the situation, probably head to Twitter, head to ESPN, head to The Ringer, wherever you get your news on the NFL and your journalism, and people do that better than me. So I'm going to get back to covering football, which is what I like to do. But personally, you know, being a coach myself, if that was me, I probably would do the same thing as Jon Gruden. Yeah, let's get to the next topic, which is the Patriots comeback versus the Texans. So, Mac Jones and the New England Patriots pulled off the victory over the Houston Texans. I have to cover this because a lot of you were tweeting at me. You guys were commenting at me. You guys were saying, yo, Mitch, your team sucks. They blow. What's going on with the Patriots? You said this team's good. What happened to Mac Jones? He's getting outperformed by another rookie bum, Davis Mills. What happened? After falling 22-9, Mac Jones and the Patriots closed this game with not one, not two, not three, but four consecutive scoring drives. Mac Jones was 11 for 12, 106 yards, and a crucial game-winning touchdown to close it out, or game-tying touchdown to close it out, and then the Nick Folk field goal to win it. So, personally, yes, was this a rough win over a bad team? Sure. But here's what we gotta understand. The Patriots are not the Patriots. What do I mean by that? The Patriots are not the dynasty Patriots. Like, you gotta measure your expectations. You gotta change your expectations for this team. And for every other team over the last 20 years of football, other than New England, this would be fine. They got the win. Okay? But Patriots fans are stuck in 2018, 17, 16, 15, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. You know the drill, right? They're stuck in 05. Okay? We're not in 05. We are in 2021. Okay? So the expectations of New England, whether you like it or not, is to compete. Compete. Win the game. It doesn't matter what the score is. It doesn't matter your style points. It doesn't matter at the end of the day if you win 40-6 or 13-12. If you win, it shows up the same at the end of the year. So regardless, as a Patriots fan who's been struggling with the changing of expectations, who doesn't know anything but Super Bowls, doesn't know anything but AFC championships, doesn't know anything but AFC East titles, that expectation shift needs to happen for Patriots fans. And I think this was a little bit of a wake-up call. You know, if you didn't get it last year, hoping for better this year, the fact of the matter is you got a rookie quarterback. The fact of the matter is you are missing 4 offensive linemen. The fact of the matter is you are missing corners. You are missing players. And any team in the NFL was going to compete with you on this day. But at least you won the game. You didn't have Tom Brady. You don't have Rob Gronkowski. You don't have Randy Moss. You don't have Julian Edelman, Wes Welker. You don't got these guys no more. So, at least you won the game. And Mac Jones, once again, showed you why he's the best rookie quarterback in the league. Once again, showed you why he will be the franchise quarterback of this team. And once again, showed you why I think he's already a top 20 quarterback. Mac Jones is super impressive every week. Some people are going to say he didn't look that good. Well, at the end of the game, he won the game. Every week, Mac Jones gives this team a chance. He's carrying the offense. Their run game, trash. Okay? Defense struggled. Mac Jones is running a better 2-minute drill than Baker Mayfield and Carson Wentz combined right now. Combined! He came back, he showed his heart. He showed his accuracy. He showed that in the moment, the big moment, he can make that play. And that's what he did. If I'm a Patriots fan, I'm happy. No matter if this was against a local high school team, I would have been happy with this. Especially the outcome, the way that they fought, the way that they came back. I'm happy with it. By the way, the game was kind of fluky in the way that the Texans were leading. They had a 4th down, 60-yard touchdown that floated over the hand of JC. It went right over the hand of JC Jackson in between Devin McCourty, and then the receiver ran for a touchdown. And then the other touchdown was a flea flicker. So 14 of the 22 points were kind of fluky nonetheless. But that's going to happen in the NFL, and they showed enough fight and enough heart to come back and win the game. So personally, as a Patriots fan who's living in the here and now, and not in the past, not in a decade ago, I'm happy because they won. And we'll see how they look versus the Cowboys. They're going to need a good defensive game plan. Belichick, I love the Patriots always as underdogs. They come to play. It's in New England. It's in Foxborough. Let's see how they fight this week. Hopefully we got a healthier offensive line, all right? But I just got to say that because people got to understand. Stop coming at me about the Patriots. I get it. You hate them. But the fact of the matter is the Patriots aren't the Patriots. The Bucs are the Patriots right now. The Bucs are the Patriots. And I do gotta say, toss McDaniels. Josh, what are you doing? Josh, wake up. How do you call 3 screens consecutively in the red zone? From now on, I have changed Josh McDaniels' name to Toss McDaniels because for some reason he loves running toss plays with freaking Damian Harris and Brandon Bolden. And usually they go for negative yards. And then he's Screen Diddley Jr. when that doesn't work. So, Toss McDaniels. Wake up, bro. We got to get better from you if we're going to beat the Cowboys on Sunday. So you better show up. You better show up. I only like Hunter Henry right now on the offense. Other than that, we got to wake up. Defense will get better. Matt Judon, Depoy. Defensive player of the year. 6.5 sacks already. Only behind Myles Garrett. Patriots will come to play on Sunday. But I got to talk about the comeback because my boy Mac did it. Next. So, the reason I was not doing the Patriots-Texans game is because I was covering this absolutely wacky, insane football game known as the Bengals and the Packers. Currently, I have my boy Lenny, the OG himself, working on a compilation of me just absolutely going ballistic in that video, in that stream. He's going to create a montage for it. I'm excited to see it because I have no idea what he's going to do with it, but it's going to be hilarious whenever it comes because that's what Lenny does. So that will be up soon enough. But this game was insane, okay? And what I learned from this game is I hate kickers, okay? Recently, we changed. Actually, my dad came up with the name. I got to give him credit where credit is due. He changed the team name to Kickers Are Not Athletes, and that's period. Kickers. Can I speak to you real quick? One-on-one, mano-y-mano right now. You got one job. One job. All you got to do is kick the ball through the uprights. Okay? So what happened in this game? Not 1, not 2, 3, 4, 5 freaking missed field goals in a row. What? What type of game? I couldn't even understand what was happening. I couldn't compute. Mason Crosby and McPherson, whatever the heck the Bengals kicker's name is. We're going to go with McPherson. Guy thought he made the kick, but he was so excited he missed. Again, I don't know if that was the goal. He was so excited he missed. He jumped on top of his teammate and was selling, throwing his hands in the air. He was absolutely ecstatic. You got one job. One job. Just one. All you got to do is kick the ball. And you can't do it. You can't. Otherwise, I do have to put some blame. When you've got two kickers who can't kick, why? Guys, please make me understand this. Make me understand this. Why are the coaches, in this case, Zach Taylor and Matt LaFleur, why are you kicking the ball? Why are you trying to set up a field goal? Like, can somebody make me understand the process? Do you understand what it is to be insane? It is literally trying the same thing and having the same results, expecting different. So Matt LaFleur rolls up there. He's got Mason Crosby. Maybe if it was Sidney Crosby, you would attempt the kick. Mason Crosby. This guy misses continuously. The guy can't kick a field goal. He can't. Why are you kicking? You've got Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback, and you're setting up field goals to win the game. I absolutely despise head coaches who try to win in overtime or late in the game setting up a field goal. You got to try to win the game first. Go for the touchdown. Once you get stopped for the touchdown, don't call plays to set up a field goal. Don't run the ball up the middle 3 continuous times. Don't line yourself up in the middle of the field to kick a field goal. No. Try to score a touchdown until your opponent stops you. Then you kick. You don't try to get to a field goal range and then expect your dumbass kicker who can't kick to make the kick. You're asking to lose. How many years, how many weeks, how many months do I have to come on this show and say, missing a field goal is a turnover? It's a turnover. When you miss a kick, you turned the ball over. Period. You got 0 points. 0. You lost field position. What does this do you? I hated the play calling in this game at the end of the game. I hated it. It's like both teams wanted to lose the game. It's like they wanted to tie. This game was the first example of a game that I thought legitimately should have been a tie. This game should have been a tie. You're trying to lose. What are you doing? You've got Devontae. Guys, Matt LaFleur has Devontae Adams, who has 200 yards. Not 100. 200 yards. 200! And he's running the ball to set up a field goal. Just throw him the ball. He can't be stopped. I can't believe this play calling. Learn something. Does anybody watch the Chargers? Just watch the Chargers. They went for it on 4th and 2 at their own 25-yard line, and they ended up winning the game. Stop kicking with kickers who've proven they can't kick. You're insane. Oh, my God. I will say a couple other notes about the game, besides the damn kickers. The Bengals they've proven now that they are a team to be taken seriously. Before this game, I was still holding out saying, I'm not sure about the Bengals. I don't know if I can 100% buy stock in the Bungles, okay? But now I have officially changed the name of the Bungles. The Bungles are no more. The Bungles are no more. You hear this, Aqua? I hope you're tuned in right now. Aqua. The Bungles are no more. I have changed their name officially to the Bengals. The Bengals are back. They are a team to be taken seriously. When you've got Jamar Chase doing his best 1998 Randy Moss impression, you have to be taken seriously. The other thing I learned about the game is that I don't know why teams continuously decide to just play Davante Adams one-on-one. Like, this is the same thing I talked about last week with Tyreek Hill. Aaron Rodgers is stubborn. He's going to throw the ball to Adams until you force him not to throw the ball to Adams. He's going to just keep going to the well as long as he can go to the well and get fresh water. So you got to make him go somewhere else. But the Packers, I like the win. It wasn't an easy one. We knew it would be close. It was on the road. But the Packers, with some injuries, pulled it off. That was nice to see. Both teams had a chance to win. At the end of the day, they kept trusting their dumbass kickers. And the first one to make it ended up winning the game. And that was the Packers. All right. I appreciate Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell is a man. Why is he a man? Because he stood up on the podium, and this is how you know he's tough. This is how you know he is a man's man. Because what did he do? He cried. Yes, he cried. So this is how much Dan Campbell doesn't care about you at home. This is how much he doesn't care about anybody thinking he's soft. He doesn't care what you think. Dan Campbell went to the podium and poured his heart on the table. And he said, I'm upset with how we lost this game. He feels like, as a coach, and Lions fans, I know you guys suck, but at least you've got a coach that is putting every single ounce of energy into improving this team, into doing his best with this team. I appreciate Dan Campbell because he's actually a coach willing to be vulnerable, willing to go out there and say how it is, and willing to give his honest thoughts. I mean, how many damn Belichick conferences do I gotta sit through where the guy says, I don't know, I gotta coach better, we gotta play better. But in this case, I mean, Dan Campbell, the man is crying. Look at him. How can you not respect this guy? How can you make fun of this man? This man cares. He's trying to change the Lions. He's trying to change the history of Detroit. He's got a crappy roster, but every week they're in the game. Every week. I almost feel bad for saying they were going to go 2-15. Because they don't feel like a 2-15 even though they've not won a game yet. Because Dan Campbell and this staff is putting their heart and soul on the lines. You got to feel for this guy. I mean, I appreciate you, Dan Campbell. Thank you. You're being honest. You're telling the truth. You're being vulnerable. We need more of this as coaches. Now the team's going to fight even harder for them. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Lions beat the Bengals this week after that. I wouldn't even be surprised. And Durkant's right. The Lions should have won the damn game. They should have won 2 games. Thank you, Dan Campbell. We appreciate you here on the Bottom Line View. All right. And again, two of me. All right. We've got this rookie quarterback. His name is Trey Lance. He started in place of Jimmy Garoppolo, the San Francisco 49ers starter, according to Kyle Shanahan. The 49ers played the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals entering the game were 4-0. 4-0. They were trying to make it 5-0. The game was in Arizona. It was on the road. Now, we've got this guy in the Discord. I've already mentioned him already. His name is Lenny. And every week, Lenny comes into the Discord and he doesn't blame the game on the quarterback. He doesn't blame the game on the players. He doesn't blame the game on the offensive line, wide receivers. He doesn't blame the game on a guy that's actually on the field. Every single time the 49ers lose, Lenny blames the game on Kyle Shanahan. You know what, Lenny? You're going to learn here real quick. Because Kyle Shanahan was literally an inch away from beating the undefeated Cardinals with Trey Lance. And guys, Trey Lance debuted. And Trey Lance clearly showed that he is very far away from being an NFL quarterback. Very far. And how can you tell this? Well, his interception, he threw the ball 20 feet over the head of his receiver into the arms of the defender. Here's the problem with Lance right now. And I like the kid. I think he can be good in the future. But right now, he is green. Right now, he is not ready. Trey Lance, you cannot ask this guy. Here's how you know he's not ready. It's 4th and 4, and the 49ers are going for it, which was the right choice. I agree with Kyle Shanahan to go for it. They ran a quarterback power. Why? Because Kyle Shanahan doesn't know whether or not Trey Lance will throw the ball accurately to the intended target. This was the problems I had with Trey Lance coming out of the draft. He is very young. He has lots of time to grow, and I am not calling him a bust in any way, shape, or form. But there are clear deficiencies in his game. His motion is extremely inconsistent, and I'm not a quarterback throwing expert, but it's pretty clear. He lacks consistent accuracy and ball placement. And when a quarterback lacks consistent accuracy, ball placement, and an erratic motion that you don't know where the ball is going, it's a quarterback that you can't count on to make basic passes on every play. So therefore, if you're a coach of a team in any sport, you have to play to the strengths of your players. Trey Lance is a rookie who's a rookie who, okay, he's not going to be great at reading defenses because he's a rookie. He's barely played against developed defensive schemes at any level, right? He didn't at college. He didn't at high school, damn no. And now, he hasn't either. He's barely played. So you've got to keep the game as simple as possible. You've got to call the game so that you're maximizing his ability. What is he good at this moment? He can run. He's athletic. So the Cardinals know that, obviously. Lance was literally a half a yard away from winning this game. And for some reason, Kyle Shanahan is to be blamed for this. You've got to play to the strengths of your quarterback. You're not going to ask Trey Lance to throw the ball 50 times, 40 times. You've got to try to grind this game out versus a good opponent on the road. You've got to try to play to your strengths of a defensive team, but that doesn't mean you just kick field goals. We saw that in the freaking Packers-Bengals game. You got to go for the win. You got to go for it, right? You've got to make plays. The players play, the coaches coach. There's only so much a coach can do. At the end of the day, the quarterback is going to win games. The players are going to win games, not the coach. I mean, the purest example of this is Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick's the greatest coach of all time, and he's struggling to win on a consistent basis without Tom Brady. People are starting to put Kyle Shanahan on the hot seat. This is how you know you're wrong. This is how you know you're wrong. If you want Kyle Shanahan to be fired, Kyle Shanahan would be hired by 25 other teams if he was fired tomorrow. That's how you know you're wrong. You ask the 31 other teams in the league, and 25 of them would take him as their head coach. That's how you're wrong. He had to literally play a single wing offense from the 1950s to try and win this game. What is a coach supposed to do? He's supposed to play to his players' strengths. He's supposed to do what it takes to win. That's what he did. How can you ask more for that? But in this game, going back to Trey Lance, he showed flashes of ability. He's very athletic. He's tough. Already banged up, which is concerning. And I don't know what's up with the 49ers training staff and the 49ers consistently getting hurt. But he showed flashes, huge arm. But he's got to refine his mechanics. You've got to be accurate in the NFL to a certain degree. You have to be consistent enough throwing the ball. You don't got to be Peyton Manning. You don't got to be Drew Brees if you're Trey Lance and that athletic. But you do have to be some sort of consistent. And right now, you can't trust him to make a throw. You can't. So it's tough. It's a tough situation to be in for the Niners. I don't think Lance is ready right now. He might be ready next year, maybe 2 years from now, but not right now. He isn't. Right? Unless they find some sort of way to really maximize the running game and totally shift towards a super run-heavy team, maybe Kyle can figure that out. But he's put in a box here, right? He's put in a box with this quarterback situation because he can only do so much with the playbook and so much with the offense. And whenever I've talked about this with Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo's offense is all middle of the field passes and short little passes. It's the same thing with the Rams and Sean McVay. If you're going to blame Kyle right now, you should have been critical for Sean McVay with Jared Goff. Because the same thing, that is why McVay got Stafford. Because Goff couldn't make the necessary plays or throws. Players play, coaches coach. You got to execute in the NFL. Jimmy Garoppolo can only throw the ball in the middle of the field to a maximum of 20 yards. Can't even throw the ball outside the numbers. He's had his third string running back. Like, what are you asking here? George Kittle's hurt. So, I don't know. I hate the 49ers fandom right now. They're absolutely just out of their minds. They've got to evaluate themselves. They've got to go to a doctor. Something. Give it a little bit of time. Come on, man. Grow up. Guys got to understand the game. Understand the game. Understand what a coach is supposed to do. All right, let's talk about something positive. My guy, man. My guy. I got to try and salvage this video. But I was loving Kadarius Toney before the draft, man. And you know what? I am super upset with myself that I didn't take him more in fantasy, that I didn't pick him up in fantasy, because Kadarius Toney was literally my favorite player in the draft. Other than Mac Jones. Like, literally, I did a video on the Juke Pod. If any of you guys used to follow me on the Juke Pod, I was talking about how Kadarius Toney is my favorite player to watch in the draft. And we're going to look at some tape as to why he was my favorite player to watch and what he's doing now in the NFL, which is absolutely special. Like, this guy is special. He is a special player. The Giants have executed the best trade of recent seasons in the draft, in my opinion. Like, he is a special player in more than one way, and we're going to look at that. But this was a genius trade. I mean, the Giants got Kadarius Toney with a trade back, and then they also got a first-round pick next year. So they got a first-round pick and one of the special playmakers in the draft. I mean, that is absolutely an incredible trade. I'm going to try and find that video eventually. I don't have it with me right now. The Giants have been very unlucky with injuries, but what you've got to be excited about if you're a Giants fan is having this player on your team. Let's take a look at Kadarius Toney, man, because this guy has been nutty for the Giants. So let's take a look. Share my screen real quick here. Get rid of that. Okay, we got our boy Ian Hartitz of PFF. He put together this video of Kadarius Toney. And as we did for Baker last week, we appreciate the Kadarius Toney footage. So watch this guy run routes and watch the way he transitions from running routes, catching the football, and then making people miss. Guys, I don't know if I've ever seen somebody with the pure gift to make people miss the way that this guy makes people miss. It is absolutely insane the way that this player can contort his body. Watch this. Okay, we've got music. We got to turn the music off just in case copyright. There we go. All right. Look at this. Okay, so he just absolutely dummies Trayvon Diggs, who's the decoy according to Dilly. Watch this route. How do you do this? How many wide receivers in the league can run that route? Like 3? Like Kadarius Toney, Justin Jefferson, and like who else? Look at that route. Are you kidding me? Okay, watch this play. Same route, just shorter. Watch how he transitions to catch the ball and then make people miss. Watch this. How do you do that? Look at this. How many NFL players on earth can do this? Like, he just literally went backwards. Watch. Look at how hard this is to do. No, it's not the route, Durkant, but it's the way that he runs the route. It's the way that he runs the route. Look at how quickly he shifts his body and his hips. Look at how he just transitions from up the field and then back out. There are not many people on earth that can do that well. And then the way that he goes through these defenders. How? He is so quick. This guy is so quick. His yak ability is special, man. Special. Now watch this. Now he can go down the field and beat you, mossing you over the top. He can beat you, mossing you. Like, he's got it all. He can make you miss in the open field with the ball. He can beat you on a route. And then he can break tackles. Look at this. He can break tackles like a machine. Look at that release. Durkant, look at this release, bro. This is look at this release. Oh my God. And then he makes a person miss immediately. Immediately. Look at that. Look at who can do that shit. God, who can do this shit right now? Watch this move. Can Barry Sanders do this? Look at this. What? How? Oh my God. That was some Barry Sanders shit. Like, that is special, man. That is special. Like, that's something else, man. Just the way that he can make people miss, the ability to stop and start. Stop and start is out of this world, man. If you're an athlete, you know how crazy that is. Like, that is insane. That's what I loved when he was coming out of the draft, and it's translated to the NFL. A lot of times you see that in college, and you're like, there's no way when he plays the best linebackers in the league, they're going to tackle him. Like, he's not going to be able to make that move in the NFL. But the way his body is made, his flexibility, I don't know what it is. It's crazy. He's different, man. He's different. You're right. I mean, dude is special. So watch out for him. If they've got him and then Saquon and call a day. Like, look out, dude. Like, Daniel Jones is going to have a field day. Field day. So, that's pretty exciting for Giants fans, even though you're very hurt, unfortunately. Because I think the Giants, if they were healthy, they might be able to make the playoffs, but we'll see if they can get back healthy. All right. So let's talk about the Chargers, the Super Chargers. I've already talked about how I believe that Brandon Staley is already an elite coach. And I talked about how this guy has been the difference between the Chargers last year and the Chargers this year. And it was even more evident versus the Browns. Brandon Staley has the biggest testicles in the world. This guy, this was the difference between winning and losing the game. Period. They were losing by 13 points. I think in the third quarter. Guys, if you have the proper information, let me know. Okay, but they were losing by 13. They went 3 and out, essentially. Okay? They got to a 4th and 2. They were losing by 13 to a Browns team who wasn't being stopped. Like, they were not being stopped. At this point in the game, it was all Browns all day. They were running the ball, moving the ball however they wanted to, up and down the field, scoring touchdowns consistently. Their defense didn't have an answer. What do most coaches do in that situation? 4th and 2, your own 25-yard line. I think it was like their own 25, own 30, somewhere in there. Most coaches punt the ball. They say, okay, our defense can come up with one stop, right? We can force one stop. We'll get right back in it. What if that team got the ball? What if the Chargers punt there? They lost the game. They would have lost the game. Even though it was only the third quarter, they would have lost the game. Period. It's over. Like, the Browns are going to get the ball and they're going to score. And it's a 3-score deficit. I don't know if any coach in the NFL other than Brandon Staley makes that call to go for it. 4th and 2 at your own 25-yard line, down by 13. They go for it. They get it. Then later in the drive, they're in field goal range. They go for it again on 4th and 7, I think. They get that. Then they score a touchdown. That completely changed the game. Right now, the Chargers, I think, are like 8 for 9 on 4th down. There's something silly right now. And a lot of credit is going to Justin Herbert, as it should, because every single football that he throws is like a laser beam on the money. But you got to credit Lombardi as well. First, Staley for making the decision, Lombardi for making the correct play call every single time, and Herbert for hitting the guy on the money every single time. Right? This trio is winning the Chargers games. And Staley is the reason the Chargers are not 1-4. As good as the Chargers are, the Chargers could easily be 1-4. Like, if he doesn't make some of these calls in these games, versus the Chiefs to go for it, versus the Browns to go for it, versus the Cowboys, I mean, they could be 1-4. They easily could be. So, Brandon Staley right now is the best coach in the league. Because if you add up the wins and losses, and you add up which coach has had the most influence on wins and losses in the NFL, Brandon Staley is at the top of the list. Top of the list. Period. Even Kevin Stefanski didn't make the correct call in this game. Brandon Staley outshined him. Stefanski's been one of the best coaches in the league, especially in terms of these decisions. And then Justin Herbert is a freaking machine. This guy is, we're going to talk about it. He's easily a top 5 quarterback. I don't want to hear it anymore. The guy is insane. He's better versus pressure than anybody. He's got a freaking cannon. He can run. He's tougher than nails. He doesn't even care. He just stands back there. He gets freaking nailed, and he still delivers the ball to Mike Williams to win the game. Keenan Allen, win the game. I mean, Staley's confidence is unbelievable. What Staley does that is not even gonna be able to be measured is how much confidence he gives his players in these situations. He's coaching these players every practice, every week to be ready. We're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it 3-4 times a game. We're gonna have to execute it. And then in the game, he calls it and they do it and they come up with it. This guy is making the most difference in the NFL. And Herbert and him as a combination for the next decade? Like, Chiefs, you might want to check your back. Turn your head. You got somebody right on your tail. Because, I think the Chargers could be the team in this division, as crazy as that is to say, for the next decade. They've got Herbert, who's a top 5 quarterback, who could be a top 3 quarterback, could be a top 1 quarterback for the next 10 years. They've got Brandon Staley. They've got Joey Bosa. They've got Derwin James. I mean, look at those building blocks you have on this team. The Superchargers are about to dominate the NFL for the next 10 years. They are. They're going to win a Super Bowl, maybe even 2. I'm saying it right now. They're going to win a Super Bowl within the next decade. I'm completely in. I got every chip imaginable, throwing it into the middle of the damn table. Unreal. And can we talk about Justin Herbert? I know I just did, but he's clutch, man. Nobody's giving him credit for this clutchness. He's just his coach could be making these calls. Brandon Staley could be making these calls, which look like plus EV calls, look like the right way to go. But then Herbert doesn't deliver and everyone's questioning him, asking him to be fired. Right? But Herbert just doesn't care. He goes out there and he just slings the thing. And he gets it done. Guy's an MVP right now because without him making these plays, making these throws, like I said with Kyle Shanahan and Trey Lance, this team is not where they're at. Okay? Imagine picking Tua over this dude. I know Durkant doesn't want to hear it, but imagine ever picking Tua over Justin Herbert. You gotta sit here and watch this football team and watch the Miami Dolphins and say, what were the Dolphins thinking? What were they thinking? We will never know. Now, there was another quarterback in this game, which was a great game. I hope you guys tuned into the live stream. There is another quarterback in this game. The Cleveland Browns and Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, the franchise quarterback of the Browns. He couldn't deliver when he needed to deliver. Guys, there is a Baker problem. There is a Baker problem. I know that I freaked out on Baker last week. I maybe went a little bit too far in my aggressiveness on Baker Mayfield. I maybe had a little bit too many F-bombs. I apologize to the parents and the children out there for that one. But Baker really gets me, man. He really gets me. This is how I know that Baker's not that dude. His 2-minute drill is gross. Guys, Baker Mayfield's 2-minute drill was one of the worst 2-minute drills I've seen in recent history. Guys, Mac Jones has a better 2-minute drill right now. He's played 5 NFL games than Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is in what? His 4th year? He couldn't execute a proper 2-minute drive at the end of the game. He didn't know how to properly execute it. It was evident. Okay? When you watch Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, more recently, Russell Wilson, for example, Matthew Stafford is great in 2 minutes. These quarterbacks know where to throw, what to throw, how to properly leverage the situation, right? A big part of being a great quarterback is knowing how to execute and manage the game the way that it's supposed to be managed in the proper situation. So that means when you're winning the game, when you're losing the game in 2-minute, right? That means when it's a defensive game, how do you try to win this game? As opposed to when it's a shootout, how do you try to win this game? When do you decide to make that risky throw? When do you not decide to make that risky throw? Baker Mayfield on this 2-minute drive, if you want to know what I'm talking about, go back, watch the game in the last minute. Baker Mayfield threw a check down on the first play. Okay, fine. Fair enough. Okay, throws a check down. I think he got 7 yards. Cool. Drive starter, right? But they're taking too much time. Quarterback, get it going. You got to get it going. I'm doing the live stream. I'm watching this live stream. I'm screaming at the television. You cannot throw this short. You can't. I don't care if it adds to your completion percentage. I don't care if at the end of the game you've got more yards, more completions, better passer rating. Okay? You've got to know where to throw the ball. You've got to get yards. I think they had maybe one timeout. They had a minute 30, something like that. He threw the ball on the next play down to his back. Wasted 30 seconds. You cannot do that. Like, you literally cannot do that. Good quarterbacks. Tom Brady, even if that guy is wide open, he would have never thrown that because it's not going to win you the game. You've got to understand the situation. There, you have to get yards because you need a touchdown to win the game. You're not setting up a field goal. You need a touchdown. You've got to understand the situation. Baker Mayfield, in his 4th year, still didn't understand that situation. Instead, he checked it down 2 consecutive plays. He did. You can't. You'd rather take an incompletion there, right? Then get a 5-yard completion. Then get a 6-yard completion. You need chunk plays. You need 10, 15, 20 yards. If you guys ever played Madden before, you know this, right? Like, you need 20-yard plays. You need 30-yard plays. You can't just complete 5-yard plays. It's not going to win you a game. And when I was sitting there watching that, literally me, I'm not an NFL quarterback. I'm screaming at the TV. I could only imagine. I wish, guys. I wish we had Peyton Manning on the call for that. Peyton Manning would have been losing his freaking mind watching that. Like, unimaginable. You lost your team the game because of that. And then, how do you know Baker's not that dude? Bro, 4th quarter. 4th and 2. Third and 10. I don't even know what the freaking situation was. It was 3rd down, okay? The Browns ran the ball on 3rd and 10. That lost them the damn game. Stefanski probably called a run. And it probably wasn't Baker's call there, that play. But the reason he called a run is because he didn't have enough faith that they would have converted that. They played it conservatively because they didn't believe their passing game could get it done in that situation. Game is on the line. If you don't get a first down, you're giving the ball back to Justin Herbert. And they called a run play. A run play. So yes, Baker had good stats. Baker played well. He did, for the most part, until when he actually needed to make a game-changing play. His coach didn't trust him, and he didn't come through in the clutch. He continuously has showed this in his career. I want the guy to be successful, but at some point, you gotta make it. You gotta do it. He doesn't show that. He doesn't to me. Now, how do we know this? Guys, look at this stat. Courtesy of my boys at Catch the Blitz. Follow them on Instagram. Shout out to my guys Christian, Thomas over at Catch the Blitz. Teams were previously 401-0 in the Super Bowl era when scoring 40 plus points, and committing 0 turnovers. The Browns' loss made those teams 401-1. Look at this stat. Look at this stat. Why did this happen? Why did this happen? Because one, Brandon Staley went for it. Brandon Staley went for it. And Justin Herbert executed. Two, why did this happen? Because Baker couldn't make the plays when it mattered, and Stefanski didn't trust him to make the plays when it mattered. So why was this game won by the Chargers? Not because the Browns were the worst team. They were the better team, in fact, for most of the game. But because the Chargers had the better coach and the better quarterback. Period. There is no other argument. There is no other argument for why the Chargers won this game. There is no way they should have won this game. The only reason they did, according to the stats, is because they went for it when other teams in history wouldn't have gone for it. And Herbert's good enough to make them pay when they do it. That's it. You know, other teams in history don't go for it. They don't make the Browns pay there. That's why the Chargers won, man. All right. The Buffalo Bills. Yeah. The Buffalo Bills. Wait, before we get to them, I do got to say something. Cleveland Browns, please trade Odell Beckham. Please trade Odell Beckham. Now, preferably, you would trade Odell Beckham to a team called the Patriots, but please just trade Odell Beckham because I don't know what you're doing. Clearly, Baker Mayfield and him don't have some sort of chemistry. Clearly, it's not working. You could get a second round pick at the worst for Odell Beckham. He can still clearly play, as you saw in those Vikings highlights. He can still clearly play. So trade him. You don't use him. Maybe he's some sort of cancer on Mayfield's mind. But trade him. What is he doing you that is positive right now? It's not working out. Get a pick for him. Clearly you don't know how to use him. Clearly you don't want to use him. Clearly a number one receiver is not on your agenda to utilize. So just trade him to a team that would want him. Trade him to a team that would utilize him. And get something back for him. This isn't rocket science. If you are not getting the maximum out of a player that's making money that you could utilize to get other resources for your team, this helps both. This would help another team that needs a receiver like New England, and this would help the Browns who need maybe other things, right? I don't know. Just a thought. Just throwing it out there. Hopefully that happens. You know, it would be pretty fun if Baker Mayfield would throw to Odell, but you know what would be more fun? If Odell was on the Bills. But clearly they don't need him because the Buffalo Bills are officially Super Bowl favorites. Super Bowl favorites, guys. Favorites. They are the top team in the NFL, as I've stated. In a NFL full of flawed football teams, they are the least flawed football team. They are the most well-rounded football team. And personally, I tweeted this out. During the Sunday Night Football game because Chris Collinsworth continuously kept talking about how the Chiefs, there is this problem with the Chiefs, that problem with the Chiefs, this excuse about the Chiefs. Oh my gosh. It's so shocking, Al. It is so shocking that the Bills are beating the Chiefs. Hold on a damn minute. Mr. Collinsworth, I like you. I respect you. You are good at your job. I like your podcast too on PFF. But how could you watch the first 4 weeks of the NFL and say that this was shocking? Like, who was watching the Bills and the Chiefs play and saying, the Chiefs are going to run over the Bills? What? Do you watch football? Like, clearly the Bills were better going into this game. I mean, it wasn't even close. The Bills, just by stats, had the best points for and the least points against. Like, what? How could you go into that game saying, oh my God, it's going to be a shocker that the Bills would beat the Chiefs? Like, maybe you say the Chiefs beat the Bills. Okay, like, that's fair. But you wouldn't have been shocked, I assume, that the Bills beat the Chiefs. Like, the whole broadcast was disgusting. It was like expecting, I don't know, completely like disrespecting the Bills. Like, the Bills were the better team entering that game, and they're the better team leaving that game. The results of Sunday Night Football were not surprising in any way, shape, or form if you watch the NFL. You know what this reminded me of, guys? And not that I always have to bring it back to the Bucs and Tom Brady, but I've always got to bring it back to the Bucs and Tom Brady. This was exactly the same as the Super Bowl. Exactly the same. Like, the Chiefs are excused of every single result. Every single one. And the narratives are unbelievable. Like, remember during the Super Bowl, and if you guys watched me at the time, I was saying the Bucs should win this game. Like, they're the better team. They're going to destroy the offensive line. I was saying all these things, if you remember that. And during the Super Bowl, everyone's like, oh my God, the Bucs are beating the Chiefs? Holy, I'm shocked. Like, bro, do you watch the freaking games? Do you actually analyze this sport? Like, oh my God. I don't understand. Okay? I will say, the Chiefs, offensively, I thought the Bills had a great game plan for the game. They took away Tyreek Hill. They forced Mahomes to take the underneath. And man, oh man, oh man, this was so funny to me. Here's the difference for me with Patrick Mahomes. I've always kind of been a Mahomes guy, but the hype has gotten to a point where it's just become like disgusting. And his flaws are never discussed. So one of the biggest flaws with Patrick Mahomes is he lacks patience. He always tries to go for the big play. This was something that hurt him in the Super Bowl, despite everyone telling you it was the offensive line's fault. It was also Mahomes' fault because he was trying to run around and hold on to the ball instead of just throwing it underneath with open receivers there to throw to. Now, in the game, if you guys were watching the game and also listening to Chris Collinsworth on the call, he was saying that receivers were wide open underneath the defense. There was open checkdowns on every play. And this is what I'm going back to with the understanding of managing a game. The biggest part of being a quarterback is not being able to throw the ball fast, far, cool. It's not even being accurate. It's none of that. It's understanding how to win the game. No matter how you have to win the game. If it's you got to throw the ball deep, you got to throw the ball deep. If it's you got to check and do a run, you got to check and do a run. If it's throwing it short, it's throwing it short. And with Mahomes, he consistently struggles when teams force him to throw the ball short. All the time. And Collinsworth on the call was saying there are open checkdowns that they're not throwing the ball to. And he said it's hard for a quarterback to throw the check down every play. What do we always hear about Tom Brady? Captain check down, right? What do we always hear about is with even Drew Brees. It was like, he always takes the check down. Well, you know what? Apparently it's hard to do that every time. But what they're doing is they're winning the game through managing the game. I once heard, and this is a clip from the 2011 top 100 players in the NFL, the Tom Brady one. Ray Lewis is describing a play from Tom Brady in the Super Bowl versus the Panthers, and how versus cover 2, which it just so happens that the Bills were playing a lot of cover 2 in this game, the quarterbacks would often try to force the ball down the seam. They would try to make this elaborate throw, this and that and whatever, right? And Ray Lewis describes the greatness of Tom Brady as being the fact that he just threw it to the running back and they got the first down, right? Mahomes refuses to do that a lot of the time. Instead, what he does is he runs out of the pocket, tries to create a wide open. This is why there's so many open receivers when the Chiefs play. Because a lot of the times Mahomes makes the guy wide open by running around, creating time so that the receiver can create more separation, and Mahomes throws it to an open window. It's a lot of times very cool to see, but sometimes when you're playing a good defense, you just gotta drop back, take the open player for 5 yards, and move on to the next play. Not always trying to run around, creating a 20, 30-yard play. And that's the problem, and that's the biggest flaw I see with Mahomes. That is the biggest flaw I see with Mahomes. He could just throw it to the back for 5 yards. Instead, he doesn't. And he tries to create a highlight reel every time. And he's gotten himself in trouble. He tries to throw the ball, no look, sidearm off his back foot inaccurately a lot of the time this year for whatever reason. And it just hasn't been working for him the way that it has the last couple years. It hasn't. So that's what I see. Now let's get to trolling Chiefs fans, because that's the best part of this show every single week, as we continue to troll Chiefs fans who disliked my video. And I will never forget it, that you guys kept commenting, laughing at me, saying I'm just a Patriots fan who knows nothing. What would you expect from a Patriots fan? So let's take a look at this video. I haven't even looked at these comments in quite a while. So what we're going to do is I'm going to screen share the comments of this video, and maybe even a couple of you guys are going to be on there, and we're just going to laugh at these comments, okay? Let's just go through it. It's going to be fun. Let's go ahead. All right. Oh boy, this is going to be hilarious. Okay, there's our boy Kadarius Toney. All right. What do we got? Chris Pierce. This is exactly what you should expect from a Patriots fan. You know what I don't like about this comment? And his buddy here, Brett Favre. Brett, thank you for watching my content, by the way. He says, Chiefs aren't overrated. It just seems like you're a Patriots homer to me. You know what I don't understand? I'm not a Patriots homer. But what I do know is how a team wins in the NFL, because I've watched the Patriots for 20 years. And I also do know when a team is overrated that is expected to be very good. That's what I do know, okay? I've seen Patriots teams that haven't been as good as other Patriots teams, and I've been able to recognize that. And if you were an actual Chiefs fan, you'd be able to recognize that before the season. Instead of coming on my damn video, look at this video. Look at this video. We got 162 likes and 347 dislikes. Where are you guys at? Where are you at? Why aren't you on my videos? I need an apology. Where are you at? You're below 500. You said you were going to go undefeated. 2-3. Anyways. Patriots homer, guys. I cover the entire NFL. Patriots homer. That's why I made this video about the Chiefs. Why would I hate the Chiefs? Can somebody please explain why I have any reason to hate the Chiefs? Like, literally, New England beat them. So what? Brady's beat them. Like, what? Why do I hate the Chiefs? Can somebody please explain? Because I don't get it. Anyways, moving to our next fella here. We've got just a general harmless content from Joseph. That's fine. Dale says, this guy is straight hating and will be eating his words at the end of the season. Not to say I have an issue with him. Everyone has the right to their own opinion. Okay, so he saved himself in the last sentence there, but am I eating my words right now? You know what I'm doing, Dale? You know what I'm doing, Mr. Moore? I'm eating those W's like Jameis. That's what I'm doing. Next. This year, overrated. I'm going to tell you now. This is the best Chiefs team there has ever been. You're going to see a more balanced team. Get ready for a lot more runs, which will open up the passing game also. With this rebuilt O-line, you're going to see the best Chiefs team to date. I don't even know if I have to say anything. Balanced? You got no defense. We've got our boy, this guy, I know he follows me on Twitter. I do not know how to say your name, bro. So if you could help me out real quick. X-Chesh. I'm going to go with that. All right. I rarely disagree with you, but strong disagree. Their defensive performance in the playoffs for me is the most overlooked of any team. It is hard to forget that they effectively blew out the Browns and Bills despite Mahomes' foot injury and muffed the punt and a 10-0 start against the Bills. Spagnuolo is unique because he doesn't need highly efficient edge play. Okay, hold up. Their edge play is the reason their defense sucks ass because they've got no pass rush. Their edge play is so bad that they've moved the second best defensive tackle of the last 10 years to D-end because they've got no pass rush. This is what I said in the video. They've got no pass rush, period. So Spagnuolo, I respect the dude as much as anybody. He's playing with his arm tied behind his back because he's got no damn pass rush. Okay? What else? Because of his high use of zero coverage. Their strength on defense is on scheme and safety. Well, their safeties are ass, bro. Like, have you seen Daniel Sorensen play football? And it matters more in the playoffs. Even against the Bucs in the Super Bowl, the defense was doing well until the script changed. I don't see they couldn't be the best team in the AFC, at least with how historically talented Mahomes is on offense and how good Spagnuolo is on defense. Well, in fact, they have already lost to the Chargers, the Bills, and the Ravens, so they're not the best team in the AFC. Matt says the Chiefs' O-line has wrecked going into the Super Bowl. 4 starters gone, bro. Okay, this is what you guys are missing. This is what you guys are missing. The Chiefs' O-line was good when they won the Super Bowl. The Chiefs' O-line was good at the beginning of last year. Here's the problem with Chiefs fans thinking their O-line solves all their issues. Their O-line was only bad in the Super Bowl because they were playing the Bucs pass rush and they had hurt players. But their freaking O-line was good at the beginning of the year. It was good in the Super Bowl versus the Niners and that damn playoff run. And like when you put so many resources into one area, here's the problem. Your team doesn't stay the same. Like, just because your cornerbacks overachieved, which is the case, your cornerbacks overachieved in 2019 doesn't mean they're going to overachieve in 2020, in 2021. You know what I mean? So, like, just because you fixed your O-line doesn't mean your linebackers are going to get better or worse. Like, they could get worse. Just in fact, your defense has significantly declined. Your team doesn't stay the same. Oftentimes it gets worse in areas that you don't improve. Okay? That's the problem that you're missing. And that's what I was trying to point out in the video. Jason says, was disappointed in this video. I'm a Chiefs fan. I was actually excited to see what this guy had to say. But it wasn't fact-based. His evidence was weak. Kansas City lost 2 regular season games last year. Well, you know what, Jason? They've already lost 3. So how about that? One of those, they didn't play their starters. So when they tried, they lost once. The O-line was a total mess all season. Worst it's been in decades. And Kansas City walked backwards on its hands into the Super Bowl, where their third string and practice squad was decimated. That's just lies. All right, next, Dark. Says the gist of this argument is all teams have ups and downs and they are due for a down. Super compelling. He actually says one of these years they won't be as good. Exactly, but you still thought they would be good. So can you tell me where I was wrong? Next. The Chief says it's funny because everyone's so salty over his opinion. Oh yeah, you post that. Thank you. Appreciate that. What else we got? Charlie, wow, if you don't think the Chiefs have some depth at D-line, corner, or tight end, you haven't been paying attention and lose all credibility. Charlie, you got no credibility, bro. Here's the problem, guys. You can say what you want about my opinion, and you can disagree with my opinion. But if you don't think I know the depth on these teams, when all I do is literally talk about the NFL, then I don't know if you have credibility. Like, I know teams' third string D end. How do you don't think I know if a team has D-line depth? Like, I'm doing my job here. I take pride in my job. When's the last time the Chiefs had a tight end 2 who was worth a damn? Daryl says the Chiefs secondary is potentially great. That was a great take. You guys see these terrible takes? I don't even need to keep going. I mean, okay, we'll finish with Chad. 12 minutes and 58 seconds is a long time to say I know nothing about football. We're going to respond to Chad because he's a classic Chad. You sure? All right, there we go. There we have it. That's enough for the Chiefs fans. Bro, don't come at me in the comments and say I know nothing. That is when you can disagree, but give me good arguments for why you disagree. Like, I'm not going to be mad at you if you disagree. Now, if you call me names, that's when I'm going to troll you. Okay? But if you question my credibility and you question my effort, that's when I get mad. Okay? So if you want me to get mad, then expect a comment back, okay? That's all I'm saying. All right. What else we got? Oh, yeah. Our final segment. We've got the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. And I've got to actually find the pretty graphics I made. Where did I put them? Okay, guys, I got to look for these. Let's answer some comments right now. What's going on, guys? Gold Lion says, my Ravens are winning in a shootout games, but we can't win a Super Bowl like this. So that's a realistic fan. I appreciate that comment. We need more fans like Gold Lion. I like him. Why can't we get more fans like Gold Lion? Gold Lion, where are more fans like you? Where are more fans like you, man? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to download, because I worked hard on these pretty graphics, so I got to download them, you know? So let's get to it. Monty, what's going on, man? How you doing? Oh, you donated? I'm sorry if I missed your donation. Let me see. Should be here somewhere, right? It's a lot of comments. Thank you, guys. Chris Holland with the super chat. Your Ravens take looks freezing cold right now. Honestly, bro, like, you're probably a Ravens fan. I think I'm actually pretty accurate with the Ravens take. It just so happens that Lamar has been too good for them to lose, but I still think, you know, this might be kind of wild, but I still think they're overrated. Like, because, and what I mean by this is, what's overrated again? It's being considered better than you are, right? Or being considered by consensus, by the public, better than you are. So I'm sure the Ravens in a lot of power rankings are in the top 5. And for me, the Ravens are, you know, in the top 10, but they're not an elite team. I look at the Ravens as a good team. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, okay? And I've given a lot of credit to the Ravens, especially Lamar Jackson, and we'll get to more credit for Lamar Jackson here in a little second here. But I still think they're overrated, Chris. I do. We'll see at the season's end where they land. I think they're a playoff team. I never said they weren't a playoff team, but I don't think they're a great team. Monty with 199, appreciate it. He says Lamar is the best quarterback in the entire NFL. Thank you, Monty. Staley Coach of the Year for Connor says, Connor says Mitch had no credibility when talking about Staley because, unlike me, he did not watch all 27 episodes of Chargers offseason mic'd up interviews. That is true, although I did watch some of them. I did not watch all 27, so you are accurate, Connor. I have zero credibility, and I did not spend enough time on that. So there you have it. So let's download these pretty graphics, and then I'll put them up. If you guys have any more comments, I'll take them now before we get to these top 10 quarterbacks. Chris says, find one power ranking where the Ravens are top 5. I haven't seen a single one. Throughout the entire beginning of the season, they were in the top 5 for like ESPN and such. So I'm not sure where you're looking, but that's where I've seen it. And I'm sure others could back me up on that. I don't think that's just me, unless I'm just recalling something that didn't happen. Oscar says, I could say the same about the Packers, top 10, but not top 5. And I see the Packers the same way as you, bro. I do. They're a good team. I don't think they are a great team. And I question both the Packers and the Ravens as true Super Bowl contenders. So when I'm talking about the Ravens, I'm not talking about the Ravens as a normal team, because I have so much respect for the Ravens and recognize where their franchise is at in terms of, you know, what to expect from them from a year to year. And they're clearly a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. So in that context, they are overrated, in my personal opinion, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Okay, here we go. You guys ready for the top 10? All right. So let's start off with the top 5, okay? So, let's go. The top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, according to me. Right now, here, now, in 2021, October 12th, 2021. Who are the best quarterbacks in football? The top 10, the very best, the MVPs, the top gunslingers. My top 5. At number 1, Tom Brady. Tom Brady, to me, is easily the best quarterback in the NFL. Easily. He is the best. He is the best now. He was the best then. He's the best next year, last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. If I had to win a game, guys, if I had to win a game and the aliens rolled up to my door, rang my doorbell, knocked on my front door and said, Mitch, which quarterback are you taking to win the game versus the aliens? To save Earth. I'm taking Tom Brady. I'm not taking Mahomes. I'm not taking Dak. I'm not taking Josh Allen. I'm not taking Aaron Rodgers, Herbert, Lamar, Marino, Peyton, Vic, Favre, Elway. I'm taking Brady. The aliens knock on my door tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. and I answer the door and they say, Mitch, who are you picking to win? Who's going to win the game for you? Tom Brady's going to win the game. Tom Brady's going to win the game. I'm done. He's the best. Tom Brady is on pace for 6,000. Guys, listen to this for a second. Tom Brady is on pace for 6,007 yards. Have you ever heard of that before? 6,000 yards. He is on pace for over 50 touchdowns. 50! 5-0. Okay? His stats last week versus the Dolphins. Ho-hum. Ho-hum. He just went out there. He rolled up and he threw a bunch of touchdowns. He went versus the Dolphins and he had 30 for 41, 411 yards, 5 touchdowns. And he didn't even play the whole game. He had 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. And nobody cared. The Buccaneers have scored 44 points or more 6 times in 25 games with Tom Brady, who is 44, by the way. And they scored 6 total in 44 seasons before he got there. Do you understand that stat? Tom Brady has scored 44 points with the Bucs. 6 or more times. Okay? And they didn't even do that in 44 years. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Tom Brady leads the NFL in completions, attempts, yards, and has 2 5-touchdown games. He is first in PFF grade, first in DYAR, which is the stat from, which is it? It's not Pro Football Reference. Another stat. I don't remember. Regardless, that is how they measure their quarterback performance. And now I'm forgetting. And he's 4th in EPA per play. So essentially, he's basically leading all these categories. He's got the top grade. He's got the top everything. He's the MVP of the freaking league. He's the best. Like, quit it, okay? Number 2. So Tom Brady is easily the best, in my opinion. Now, easily second best is Lamar Jackson. Tom Brady is easily best. Lamar Jackson is easily second best. These are the 2 best quarterbacks in the league. Okay? Lamar Jackson has ticked all the boxes for me. He's ticked all the boxes. He now can perform from behind in a game, light up a defense, and make a comeback. Something that he wasn't able to do 2 years ago. He wasn't able to do that 2 years ago. He was barely really able to do that last year. So within the pocket, Lamar can now win a game. Okay? We knew he could win outside the pocket. He checked the boxes in terms of, obviously, he has all the other qualities of a great quarterback. But he really proved in that game versus the Colts, in the game versus even the Raiders to a certain degree, that he could carry the team throwing the ball as well. Right? So Lamar, second. He's a great playmaker with his legs. He's a unique talent in that way. You've got a game plan for his legs. And he's so elite at that in the same way that Brady is at throwing the ball from within the pocket, that it makes a defense play you in a certain way, shape, and form, right? He creates his own offense, Lamar does. And that's why he's number 2. On top of, he's been a good thrower this year, better than he's ever been. Number 3, Aaron Rodgers. So you guys know I'm not exactly the biggest Aaron Rodgers guy there is, but I do respect Aaron Rodgers' game. And as somebody that basically, I'm going to be honest, molds their expectations for a quarterback around Tom Brady, which everybody should, Aaron Rodgers is the closest in terms of game management skills, ability to understand the game mentally, process the game mentally. Aaron Rodgers still got a great arm, great accuracy, great improvisation. Not as good as he was maybe 10 years ago in that regard, but a lot smarter, a lot better in terms of game management, a lot better in terms of these small things. And I think, Brady is so far ahead of everybody else in the small things, but Rodgers is second in basically all of those things behind Brady. So that's why he's number 3 for me. He's very accurate. He is a great pocket passer, but he can still do it without, he really only has Adams too, right? Like Adams, he's got a pretty good O-line, a pretty good run game, but a lot of it is Devontae Adams, who's insane. Like, he's awesome, but like, he needs more reliable targets, in my opinion. But Rodgers is really, really, really good. The thing that holds back Rodgers a lot of the times is he mentally, I still feel like the leadership skills, the off the field stuff, I always constantly question that. I do think that's a real thing. And I still question, in games where he's behind early, you rarely see him make that big, ginormous comeback the way that Lamar and Brady have done now. Lamar last night and then Brady throughout the years. But Rodgers is great and has been very good this year, kind of quietly very good, but he's not much worse than he has been last year. Number 4, Justin Herbert. So really what's missing from Justin Herbert, he has all the physical ability. The arm is one of the 3 or 4 best in the NFL. He's got a freaking cannon. He can move really deceptively well. He can really run away from people. He's got a giant stride when he runs. He can take contact very well and deliver under pressure better than any quarterback in the league. And he's got the balls, bro. He's clutch. He's clearly shown that so far this season. And he's only getting better and he's only developing. He's a true MVP candidate right now. Justin Herbert, what's missing from him? I just think it's that evolution of that level of Brady and Rodgers of understanding the game, And there are moments where Herbert still throws an odd, dangerous pass, and sometimes he doesn't quite make the right play in the right situation. Sometimes he just trusts his arm too much, but he's a great young player. There's not many flaws physically with his game, if none. Like, there are none. It's just more the mental things that he needs to continue to learn as a young player, which will take some time, and he'll continue to refine those. But that's why he's at number 4, where he's just a little bit behind Rodgers at this point. At number 5, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's been really, really good this year. I think he's improved his patience as a quarterback. I think he's improved his accuracy in the short and intermediate areas of the field. Obviously, he's one of the best improvisers in the game right now. He's an extremely elusive runner. Although he hasn't quite been the runner this year that he was last year, he's still very good in that regard. He is the road runner of the NFL. He's very, very talented. He is a little bit more inaccurate than some of these guys above him. I don't think he's proven really in the big stages that he can really just carry a team the way that some of these other guys have. And I think he's hurt right now. Like, he's got to be, I think, a little bit more just generally consistent on, off, and just generally more available for his team. Because, like, he's been hurt, playing through injuries the last 2 years, and that's starting to become a little bit of concern for me, but he's really, really good. I would just say, like, his pocket passing and his presence within the pocket just isn't as good as these other guys on the list, but he is definitely one of the best improvisers in the game. Now, to finish the list off, the final 5 here, we have at number 6, Dak Prescott. So Dak Prescott, it was really close for me. Josh Allen was nearly in the top 5, but Josh Allen has been very, very, very all over the place this year. Like, he just is coming off in this moment in time. He's coming off a great, phenomenal performance on October 10th, right? On Sunday night. He was unbelievable in that game. He was accurate. He was running on the Chiefs. Like, he showed his physical traits to the fullest. And that's what makes Josh Allen special, because he can beat you with his legs, he can beat you with his arm, and he can really beat you with both in a single play, which is very, very rare. There was a play where he was running, like, away from people for a first down scramble. It was very impressive. Like, you don't even recognize how fast and athletic Josh Allen is. But the difference for me between Dak and Josh Allen, Dak has been more consistent in where I care about quarterback play. He has been a better decision maker this year. He has been far more accurate on a consistent basis than Josh Allen. He doesn't put the ball in harm's way as much as Josh Allen. And really, like, Dak has very few flaws as a quarterback. I think he's more mentally advanced than a lot of people give him credit for as a processor of the game. I love Josh Allen. Like, he's one of my favorites to watch. But this year, if you've seen him each and every game and tracked his performance, it's been very sporadic. It's been very up and down. So that's kind of what keeps him from the top 5. Dak has been more of that steady Eddie presence for me. At number 8, Patrick Mahomes, man. Mahomes has not been the same player. I know there's going to be a ton of hate for this. Mahomes has not been the same player. Patrick Mahomes has been way more inaccurate. He has put the ball in harm's way way more often. I think he has 6 or 7 interceptions already on the season. His mechanics have not been the same. He's just missing players open. Most of his yards are coming off of the yak plays. He's really not making the game-changing throws that he has been typically making. Now, Chris Sims has been throwing out there that he's been hurt. I personally have not seen that he's hurt. I don't know where this is coming from personally. I don't see it. I don't sense it at all. I just think he's become a little bit overconfident in his game. And I think he needs to get back to the basics and go back to the drawing board, go back to the lab a little bit, and just play a simpler game and not try to make everything this crazy highlight. But we know he has great talent, right? We know his arm is special. We know his improvisation and vision are special, but it just feels like people have started to figure out this offense and Mahomes, and that has taken him down a peg. So, yes, Mahomes, I mean, when you compare him to Allen is actually physically better than Patrick Mahomes. Like, I really do think that. So you can't really argue that Mahomes is physically more gifted than Josh Allen. Now, clearly, he's more physically gifted than Dak or Brady, but the areas that Dak and Brady are great at aren't necessarily, where Mahomes kind of has been struggling this year. So that's why I have him at number 8. At number 9, Russell Wilson. Wilson's currently injured. He's out for a few weeks, but he's currently PFF's number 2 graded quarterback, only behind Tom Brady. He still does a great job with the deep ball. I still think he's the best deep ball passer in the NFL. He's still incredible in terms of eluding pressure and creating big plays with a very limited offensive scheme, and oftentimes carries the Seahawks to victories. Russell Wilson is still amazing. I think maybe he's not quite as athletically gifted as he was 2-3 years ago in his true prime, but he's still one of the best, and I think has developed more in terms of like a short and intermediate passer in recent years, but he's still very, very good. Part of him being at 9 is just because there's so many good quarterbacks right now. And at number 10, I have Matthew Stafford, who I think is a clear number 10. I think these 10 are clear. Matthew Stafford's been very good. Not quite elite. He has the last couple of weeks, been missing more throws than he typically does, but he's still got a cannon. I think he's way underrated in terms of his mental ability to process defenses and look off safeties and make plays with his eyes and make plays with his brain. And his 2-minute situations, he's truly elevated the Rams offense to the next level. That has been evident. And he's been arguably an MVP candidate. So to me, this is clearly the 10 best quarterbacks, no matter how you order it. In terms of my top 10, though, guys, as I said, Tom Brady is clearly the best quarterback in the NFL. And if you don't think that, you haven't been watching the NFL. Lamar Jackson is clearly the number 2 quarterback in the NFL. And then I feel like Herbert could deserve, number 3, number 4, number 5. Rodgers is definitely in the top 5 for me. And you could argue at number 5, maybe you go Kyler, maybe you go Allen. If you still want to put Mahomes there because of previous success, sure. Like, there is a lot of great quarterback play in that top 10. I think really where the discussion becomes interesting for quarterbacks is like 11 through 32. So if you want to hear me talk about that in the future, maybe halfway through the season, let me know. If enough people ask me to do it, I will make a video on it. But that's personally where I stand for quarterbacks in the top 10 right now. And my personal top 10 Hopefully you guys enjoyed the bottom line today. It was a long one, but I think a good one. Hopefully it entertained you. If it did, make sure you do Gronk spike that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new for more BLV on the NFL. Thanks for watching. It's Mitch. Peace. Also, power rankings coming soon and picks tomorrow. Peace.